Here's a game playing Sergio Kumic with the white pieces. Let's try for a real Scandinavian this time, see if we can get one. Yes, he takes, okay. And he goes for the gambit. Well, let's show the Scandinavian gambit. You can also play e6 for another gambit, but I always played this one. I think it's pretty good for black. Get this control of the dark squares in the center. Get the bishop on a good diagonal looking at the king side. And get this bishop out here immediately looking at this pawn. Is that good? I always wonder about this because he can't immediately start harassing that bishop, but you know, it is taking a few moves to do that. Now I will put the pawn on h6 when it gains a tempo. That's handy. And get castled. This pin is not bothersome at all because the queen can run out to d6 and unpin anytime. We'll see what white is coming up with. So there's an immediate knight to b4, piling up on that pawn. How is he going to defend it? But my pawn is hanging, so let's go ahead and go with this queen d6 idea. Unpin that knight. And now, that since this pawn is defended, I can play knight to b4 and attack the d pawn. Yeah, let's try it. He hasn't done anything to stop me. Sometimes I will play with a3 and b4 to try and chase this bishop back. I think you want to reply with a5 in those cases to try and maintain a good spot for the bishop. He drops his knight back to defend. That's true. 3 attackers, 3 defenders. This pawn is defended. I can keep piling up. If he drops his bishop back to attack the d pawn, or e pawn, that makes some sense. I could consider he just takes. So here, what do I want to do? I can take with the queen, of course, and avoid pawn damage. Or I could take with a pawn, and that maintains the pressure here on d3. And I do have the bishop pair. My king position was weakened a little bit, but I have a bishop over here to help defend. And his pieces are back, so it's not like my king is going to be in any immediate danger. So I went ahead and forced things. So because he got that with tempo, I guess he now can get in this move b5. b4 rather, kick my bishop back. Well, after b4, maybe I would go with, yeah. I was just realizing after b4, bishop b6, pawn to c5 forks the queen and the bishop. Bit annoying. So, but I put the bishop here attacking the rook. And if he moves the rook, then I can move the knight. Kicks the queen first. So I want to go to a square with the queen where I'm not going to get harassed. And I probably want to stay on this file here. Is that important? And I could go elsewhere. Like if I step up, he's got bishop to f3. I think I'll just drop back to d7. So now it's getting complicated. I say bishop takes knight, bishop takes rook, bishop takes bishop, I take his queen. So after I take the rook, whatever piece is here is going to be pinned. So he moves the rook. Okay, so now I should take... Actually, I should move I should move this with tempo, right? If I take here and he takes back, then I can take back with check. And that will not win the queen because the queen is defended, but it'll win the bishop. So let's think. Knight takes pawn, rook takes pawn, bishop takes rook, check. King takes rook, queen takes queen, bishop takes queen, rook takes bishop. So I've sacrificed a knight, a bishop, and a queen, and I've gained a queen, a rook, and a bishop. So it wins the exchange and a pawn, I think. Oh, and also this knight is hanging over here. I mean, it's defended by the queen at the moment, but at the end of all the exchanges, the knight will be hanging. Whose turn was it at the end? I go here. He takes the knight. I take with check. He takes back. I take the queen. He takes back. I take the queen with the rook. It's his turn, so he has time to save the knight. It means that I have a choice between taking the bishop and the knight at the end. So maybe after the queen, after he takes back. Okay, so he goes there to avoid losing his queen. A sensible decision. Bishop here would be a skewer that picks up the rook, so that would be another way of winning the exchange. He could bring his queen over here with check, though. Might be a bit annoying. But if I just drop my knight back, well, I can do it in two stages because this is with check, so drop the knight back first. I was noticing that this bishop is loose and in the line of his rook, but he has to deal with the check first. Then I can drop the bishop back, hitting the queen. The queen can come to f3. I can play knight to g4. Maybe that's not so great. Let's just take the rook. Knight to g4. Yeah, knight to g4 left the f6, or knight g5 rather, left the f6 pawn undefended. So so he decided to resign here. Now we can check this out in the postmortem and see how it could have continued. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.